the digital economy had been thrust into the spotlight, with many businesses taking the leap to go online and implement the use of digital wallets or e-wallets as a safety precaution to maintain social distancing as part of the new norm. Besides that, the e-Tunai Raya campaign also saw a surge in Malaysians using digital payments, as the government provided a prepaid amount of RM30 to use digital payments for daily necessities. A whopping 70% of them spend the money at GrabPay merchants, while almost 50% actively use the Grab platform throughout the MCO period.
I think yes. So I've been using the e-wallet before. I think it's quite convenient now because for all the information is that I have been staying in Australia for a couple of years. So in Australia, we don't really bring cash, or the other way around is that usually like go for cashless because of to avoid kind of crime or criminal, because there's kind of discrimination happen in Australia. So they usually will target all those Asians, and usually they will rob the Asian as well. So I think the easiest way or the most convenient way is go for the cashless, and I think it's quite convenient in our country.
The short-term economic recovery plan ePenjana includes an effort called ePenjana, which intends to motivate consumer buying through digital payments. Eligible Malaysians were given the opportunity to redeem RM50 in e-wallet credit. More than 93% of the money disbursed to Grab users was used, which in terms of credit redemptions by the end of the campaign. In addition, more than 40% of inactive users prior to the launch of ePenjana claimed the RM50 through Grab and have remained active on the platform since, proving that the campaign has been a success in encouraging the adoption of digital payments among consumers.
Personally, I don't really recommend Grab, especially in Malaysia, because I'm not sure whether you guys realize that there are some charges for using Grab in some areas, which means that you have to pay extra surcharge for reload in some places that is not that convenient, like city or like places like Kampar, and also not really quite a lot of the shop owners that is using GrabPay, because I think Touch and Go is more widely used by the user, so I don't really recommend using GrabPay lah.
The government had previously allocated 450 million ringgit Malaysia for the program that aims to give out the 30 ringgit Malaysia incentive to 50 million qualified applicants, with a requirement for the 30 ringgit Malaysia e-credits. It received via the three e-wallet platforms, Boost, Grab or Touch and Go. As a home-ground tech enabler and proponent of the digital economy, GrabPay be a part of the government's ePenjana initiative, which began on July 31, 2020. This initiative will see the government channeling e-wallets users to help local businesses recover by encouraging them to shop for their wants and essentials, and proving that the campaign has been a success in encouraging the adoption of digital payments among consumers.
Well, I think it is a very good way of using Grab. The government themselves or the financial department of our country are able to track where does the money goes. For example, the government is giving or quoting 1 million ringgit to one project. So if the project is only costing 500,000, so where does the rest of the money goes? But for e-wallet or what we call a cryptocurrency, we can actually trace where does the money goes to and where does the money goes in which area. For example, okay, let's say we are giving this 50 ringgit to Kamparian or like Utarian, okay? So we were able to track where does the money goes to. For example, a student purchasing the stationery in Lazada or Shopee or what kind of thing they are buying. So it's kind of big data. So we are tracking all these, what do you call, the items or those favor of the buyers. So we are able to track and we are able to, proper advertisement towards the favor of the person.
The government has ramped up its effort to financially back to the digital economy since the pandemic hit. with businesses such as Grab lending a hand. As we are now in a recovery phase with more businesses opening their doors and Malaysians venturing out, it is timely to help them adapt and continue thriving in the new normal. Therefore, this initiative, beyond just a seasonal effort by both government and private sectors to stimulate the economy, but in the long term, cultivate a stronger adoption of digital payments that will benefit businesses who have been impacted by the pandemic. Grab Digital Small Biz (GTS) program aimed to helping small businesses adapt to the new normal includes tools and initiatives that help offline businesses transition to the online, as well as assist those already on the Grab platform to expand their visibility and adapt their operations to an increasingly digital world. More Malaysians join digital platforms including shoppers and traders, hawkers and businesses, noting that an additional 16,182 traders and businesses have registered for such platforms.
It still depends on every owner's opinion. Those areas that is not covered by internet, then definitely you're not going to be able to use the Grab. But if you are talking about city, then yes, of course, why not? It is a very convenient way to pay cash, but still, what kind of a rebate to the customer if you are competing with the biggest such a company? So what kind of advantages does the business owner can get from the company itself, from Grab itself? Whether they are going to be convenient? Because some of the device that given by the company, when you go to, for example, 7-Eleven, right? So when you're trying to pay using Grab or in some of ePenjana or e-Tunai, they will have a QR scan on your QR code. So whether that machine are able to detect the signal from the company themselves still depend on the connectivity of that area. So if there is very low connectivity or during rain, connectivity might be disconnected, then it will cause inconvenience to our customers. So it still depends. If let's say some people that prefer or like city area, they don't bring cash, and for convenience purpose, okay, they don't bring cash, then it will be beneficial to the business owner, because I myself as a customer as well. So sometimes, because due to the living style in Australia, so I don't really bring a lot of cash go out, So this will be a very good alternative for me instead of bringing cash and safety purpose in Malaysia. So definitely I'll go for it. Then definitely the owner will definitely go for the GrabPay.
6 November year 2020, Finance Minister Dato Seri Zaifu have made an announcement, which is the ePenjana initiative implemented by Malaysia Digital Economic Corporation has generated sales of over RM 1.2 billion within 4 months. Also, the government had allocated RM 140 million to implement the Penjana micro, small and medium companies. E-commerce champion and Penjana Shop Malaysian online initiative told MDEC as the lead agency to implement the initiative. The Penjana MSME e-commerce campaign has seen over 150,000 new and existing companies brought onto e-commerce. And then, Penjana Shop Malaysia online was reached a success as it generated over RM 896 million in e-commerce sales, benefiting over 7.8 million consumers and over 210,000 Malaysian sellers nationwide.
So if we are talking about the money, I'm not sure if you guys realize that, probably not, that the government is paying I think around 3,000 ringgit to support the SME companies in Malaysia. So I think it is a very good, what we call, a move by the Malaysian government, especially for those small companies, like me, to survive during this, COVID-19 time. But if you are talking about the software itself, as you guys know, that during the MCO period, the people actually don't allow, the Malaysian government doesn't allow for people to go out, purchase staff, I think during this time, possibly that they will be getting a very reduction on the people that using the apps. But when we talking about the CMCO, then it will be a very good move, because if we are going for the cashless, cash, by reducing the probability of infection of these COVID-19 viruses, I think actually it will help a lot to make sure that most of the citizens, the Malaysian citizens, in terms of reducing the transmission of the virus, because we're not using the cash, the paper. As you guys know, the paper is one of the path that the virus might transmit through, what we call a medium. So I think it's a very good move by the government, and as well as if you're talking about money, it's a very good move by the government to help the small company to survive, especially those companies that just started before the pandemic goes in.
From the announcement by Financial Minister Dato Seri Zaifu, we can see 4 things from that. First is Malaysia still remain attractive for e-commerce. Second is the consumer trust in e-commerce deepens. Third is Malaysia e-commerce industry still have potential to grow in future. Lastly, diversification was accelerate the domestic e-commerce logistic development in the GDEX expansion.
For the ePenjana itself, in my own opinion, the government doesn't really trace where does the money goes to. For example, you have a company, I'm going to give you the 3,000, but I don't really ask you where does the money goes to. For example, did you use the money on the buying your daily expenses, or you are paying your utilities and your employee salary? So they don't really actually look into it. And I think this is kind of very bad decision by the government, because there is no proper planning. So in my opinion, if you are applying for this 3,000 ringgit, every company or the shareholder or the owner of the company will have to come with a proposal saying that why do you need to apply for this 3,000 ringgit and how does the money goes to, and you have to explain to the Malaysian government or the ministry saying that how are you going to plan or proper planning to use this money, instead of, okay, I get the money and then I randomly buy and stuff, which is not helping to the business at all.
Encourage a safe contact-free payment experience with our e-wallets, and to boost consumer spending, the current administration has allocated a total of 750 million e-Tunai Rakyat to promote the e-wallet industry aimed at benefiting 50 million Malaysians. Malaysia government cooperates with GrabPay to accelerate Malaysian business recovery through cashless adoption during this pandemic period. This is a good way to build and educate and resilient Malaysia by a digital economy.
This is a very good move by the Malaysian government, because China has already started the cryptocurrency, what we call, a long time ago. Even like many other Western countries, to avoid corruption. So I think it's a very good move, and actually to bring our country into a very modern country like others.
Government encourage Malaysians using digital payment adoption by giving many discounts when they are paying by GrabPay. After the publicity campaign on e-wallets, the number of GrabPay users are increasing rapidly. Due to aggressive publishing digital economy by government, I believe that our country will achieve cashless society within a short period. The cashless system has its advantage in that it reduces fees by those manning the payment counter and is much safer and convenient as sales proceeds are deposited into our bank account.
First of all, you have to know that in order to bring Malaysian society into cashless, we have to convince some of our rural areas society, because they are not willing to move into a modern cashless society. I would say they refuse to learn the new technology, and as well as internet problem will be one of the major issues, because if you have been using the cashless technology, they actually require the internet and not much area covered by a proper internet. But the scenario might change eventually because we are bringing in 5G technology, and yet we still have no idea whether they are going to cover most of the rural area.
Based on the story above, we can conclude that the current era lifestyle is keep on changing with more and more e-wallet usage throughout the market. Not only GrabPay, we still see Boost, Touch and Go, Maybank QR Pay, and etc. Besides, with the government subsidized, more industry participated such as food delivery and convenience store. We should feel grateful because of the government subsidized like ePenjana and e-Tunai promotes the cashless lifestyle, convenient to everyone in the society.
In my opinion, right, so I think instead of the company, okay, let's say GrabPay, okay, if you are installing the GrabPay application in your phone, not able to pay on the Lazada. So why don't the big company, what they can do is centralize all these payments, wherever apps that you are downloading in your phone, it doesn't really matter, as long as you have a general receiver, like, a QR code receiver, just like the machine that you're using outside, even though that is the Maybank machine, but if you're using Bank, you're still able to pay the weight. So my opinion is that why don't they go for it? Wherever apps they are downloading, whether Touch and Go, Grab or wherever, there will be a centralized receiver. So there will be a centralized receiver. That means we can pay wherever app, and it will be guaranteed from the Bank Negara Malaysia. It doesn't matter, But talking about the inconvenience, it is very pissed off. So I think it's very inconvenient. But at the end, the way they are trying to do is just to suck the money from the consumer.
So here comes to the end of our story. Thanks for your time and have a nice day to you.